Hey everybody! Welcome back to the show.
We're back!
Everybody's back together again. We got the original crew. It's been too long since we've done one of these.
The Chorizo Bros.
Back at it again.
Dude.
It's been a while. It feels like it's been a little bit too long. Maybe not too long.
It's more than a month.
It's been a while.
Yeah.
I've been itching to get back yet.
For you guys, it's been a long time.
Yeah.
So check it out, y'all. What were you gonna say?
They've been dying to watch us.
They've been itching for a good Chorizo Bros episode.
Yeah.
They've been wanting some chorizo and egg breakfast tacos here, so we're ready to do it. Thanks so much for clicking on the video, you guys. We're going to come at it real fast with some big energy for you. We've got a special episode for you today. We are going back to basics, back to the beginning of the Chorizo Bros show. Our first episode we did on Larry McMurtry's Lonesome Dove and the miniseries associated with it. And today we are going to do another book in that series. It's called Dead Man's Walk, another book by Larry McMurtry. This is the first adventures of Gus and Call, the heroes of Lonesome Dove. So, we're going to do our episode a little bit different. What we normally have done is we try to separate the two, the book from the miniseries, or the book from the movie. We're just going to talk about this story as a whole and give our little 30-second review on it. You guys are going to each take your turns on that, and then we're going to go full speed, and we're going to talk about the story, the miniseries, the book, as though you've seen it and watched it all the way through, read it all the way through. So we're going deep on spoilers, guys. We're going to talk about some fun stuff today. So, which one of you guys wants to start?
I'll start.
Yes.
All right, Jeremy.
This book and the miniseries is the fucking best, dude. I really, really enjoyed this story. There wasn't a lot that I didn't like. Just from the get-go, it's just like jam-packed. Like, it gets you hooked from the get-go.
Yeah.
Just all of the different things that happen. I love stories where the protagonists are kind of in a shitstorm, and that happens a lot in this story. And so for me, that was just really kind of refreshing, because I feel like a lot of stories, they're like the protagonist is always on top, and yes, they get down, but they always get back up.
Yes.
And this story's kind of like that, but for the most part, it's down and gritty, and there's a lot of stuff that happens. So this was, for me, 5 out of 5. Like, I really enjoyed this story a lot.
Well, I'm the same way. I love this story. I love the action of it, the journey. Like you were saying, like I like the fact that the heroes are not always the best ones or always on top. Like, I love the Indian part. That's the part that I really like. How they know the land, how they, oh man, just the way they torture them. They're like, oh dude, it's awesome. It's a good book. The book and the series, well, the book more is 4.5. The series probably a 4. I'll give it a 4. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I can't wait to talk about it. I'm excited. I want to talk about it already. That's why.
I know we've been.
Yes.
Well, we've been excited to talk about just something in general, but this one in specifically, going back to Lonesome Dove, going back to our heroes, Gus and Call. It's been something we've been wanting to do for a while, and before we did any of this, I read Streets of Laredo by myself just because I wanted to see where the story was going to go. I didn't include you guys on that, but I think you guys want to keep going and finishing off the series, right?
Yeah,
you kind of have to, right?
Me too.
Yeah, I think so.
I would.
Maybe even do Lonesome Dove again.
I would love to do just the Book of Lonesome Dove again.
Yeah.
Yes.
Maybe. We'll see. Maybe.
So, on my quick spoiler thing, mine will be really simple because I really just want to start. I'm going to say solid 4 on both. I loved the action. Like you said, I'm going to have to agree with you on that this is jam-packed with action.
Yes.
This is, I think it does lend itself to knowing the original Lonesome Dove story before you check this out. That's my opinion. We can talk a little bit more about that later, if we should do these more chronologically or if we should read them in publication order or whatever. I think there's some different opinions about that. But I think for me, this really lends itself to knowing the original story because it can recontextualize our main characters as the heroes we know from there and how they began their careers as Texas Rangers. So I thought that was a really interesting part of this story that they don't really harp on too much, but it's when you really think about who these guys are, who they became, it makes a lot more sense, right? So let's go ahead and get into it, you guys. Let's start with that. we all read Lonesome Dove first. We all saw the miniseries. We
I
all
didn't
read the
actually
book.
finish the book.
But
Same here.
So that's something we can finish later. But we all are familiar with the Lonesome Dove story.
Correct.
Right.
Yes.
Do you guys think that we should, if you were going to recommend this series to somebody, should they start with Dead Man's Walk, know these characters, because it's chronologically the first part of the story.
Kind of reminds me like Star Wars, right? It goes backwards.
Yeah, it's a
kinda,
prequel.
yeah.
It's a prequel. So it's like these guys are like in their 60s in Lonesome Dove, and this is them when they're like 20.
Yeah, they're
Right.
young
I
bucks,
definitely do not recommend starting off with this book.
Yeah, so you think Lonesome Dove first?
Lonesome Dove first.
Okay.
I think we're all in that page.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
For me, what I really enjoy about Dead Man's Walk is I was expecting kind of Gus to have that, off the cuff responses, real like kind of that comedic relief in Dead Man's Walk. And I thought about it, I was like, no, that wouldn't make sense. I was like, he's got the way he is in Lonesome Dove, you've seen some things, you've dealt with some stuff, you know how to talk with other people. And so in Dead Man's Walk, the way he was talking was totally different from Lonesome Dove. And I was like, fuck yeah, like that's so on point. I'm so glad Larry McMurtry didn't make him like that, because I was expecting it, I'm not gonna lie. And that was one thing and that's another reason why I think you really want to start with Lonesome Dove, because that's one key aspect of Lonesome Dove that makes you really like Gus.
Exactly. Yeah.
And so to see him go, and when you read Dead Man's Walk, you can appreciate kind of what makes a man be like that in when he's like,
they have to develop.
Yes.
They have to develop. They have to go through
and I
stuff.
think that's what I like about this book and the show, that it goes back to them starting fresh. Like, not knowing nothing, not knowing, because in Lonesome Doves, they know, like, how to find Indians. They know how the trail goes. And when they're bucks, they're following other people.
Right.
And you could tell, like, how you're saying Gus, kind of very childish still. Like, very kiddish, you know what I mean? He always wants to get a poke. He's always talking about poke.
Oh, he's constantly just having a drink because he's bored.
Yeah, he's always kind of wondering.
That never changes.
No, that never. Exactly.
That's the one constant. He likes his whiskey.
Yeah, but the original, like, Gus, or like his demeanor was kind of the same. But that was one thing I really noticed and I really liked about
Yeah, I think McMurtry really got it right on that.
Yeah.
And I think making Call on the other end still sort of have that cold, calculated, he's a little bit standoffish.
Yes.
Serious. And you feel like that's kind of him to his core, and he very much seems like Call kind of the whole way. There are some developments, but he definitely has that core part of him, I think.
Right. And that's kind of cool, because that kind of also didn't bother me, right? Because I think some people are kind of born a certain way. They've been through stuff enough to where they're kind of cold that way, and that's their personality, and it's been like that for a long time. For somebody like Gus to have that off-the-cuff, like, jokiness, you kind of have to know how to talk with people. It's a skill. I think him just being mean and stubborn, that's just a personality trait I think that is pretty standard in a lot of people. It's not something that you grow into. Not for everybody, but in this case,
a character like this.
Yes.
Right. So it wasn't so out of the ordinary, I didn't think.
How did y'all feel about the inclusion of Clara? That even though she's not like a character in this, the way she is in Lonesome Dove, that this is our first. Yeah, like really he meets her and he's just like fawning over the whole time.
Yeah. My favorite scene is when he's on the book too. When they walk, he falls off the cliff or the little hill. And then I think his name is Joey, or the one who's all drunk. He shoots. He's all, "Did you shoot the Indian?" And he's all, "Who shot? You shot." No,
Yes.
And then he goes, "Can you help me?" He passes out. He's, "Oh, great. Now I have 2 fucking days.
Yeah, and then you get that's again a development thing with Call, is that's why he doesn't dick around. Because then he's like, the job just gets harder.
Claire was like, "What were you thinking about out there?" And he goes like, "Killing Indians." He was thinking about marrying her.
That's so funny.
Yeah, Clara was. It was cool because it's a nod to Lonesome Dove, right? Like,
yeah, exactly.
Same thing with like Maggie, so you can kind of.
Do you remember who that was, right?
Who, Maggie?
Uh-huh.
Like the actor?
Yeah, no, I mean who she is in the story.
And how it relates to Lonesome Dove, do you remember?
The whore that Woodrow meets.
Yes, I know. Well, she's in Lonesome Dove?
Yep, do you know who she is?
No.
She's
Newt's mom.
Whoa. Yeah, dude. Yeah, that's Newt's
So that's
mom.
why they showed him meeting her, and then he doesn't really know how to. And they mention it in Lonesome Dove. They're like, yeah, he used to be in love with her. We all knew. Everybody knew.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
That's Newt's mom.
Yeah.
That's Newt's mom, dude.
That's why Carl doesn't know if it's his.
She's a whore.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's kind of like.
I did not know, dude. That's crazy.
Doesn't that make a little bit more sense?
Dismissive. He's dismissive, just like in Lonesome Dove.
Yeah,
he was real dismissive with her and what he did, and in Dead Man's Walk. And,
yeah, he's not like he's got some complex feelings about it.
Yeah, which I don't really understand. Like,
you wouldn't be proud that you fell in love with a whore.
Well, okay, isn't back in that time a lot of people slept around with mostly the same girl?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I think they can. I think they all. Well, that's why he doesn't get mad at anybody about her doing it. He's like aware of where it is, just like Jake Spoon. And we're gonna reference Lonesome Dove a million times, so just get used to that.
Yeah.
What's the guy who's with Bigfoot? Remember she hooks up with them, and Bigfoot tells Gus, "Oh, you can't do that no more. Now she's hooked up with."
That's Shad's girl.
Yeah, Shad's girl.
Yeah,
I think I could put up a fight with that old man.
Yeah.
What did y'all think about Bigfoot and Shad?
I love Bigfoot.
I love Shad. Shad's my favorite.
Oh, I love Bigfoot.
Shad with this fucking raccoon
coon,
skin.
yeah.
I was like, dude, that guy's the shit. I love that guy.
I like both of them are cool, man. They're cool. Like they're kind of like Deets, right? They know the land. They know
they're frontiersmen.
Yeah,
they're frontiersmen. Yeah. They seem very. They don't really take shit from authority. I kind of like that. They're quick. They like figure things out pretty fast. They always criticize the outfit for getting ambushed, and when things go wrong when they're out there, they're like, yeah, well, of course they fucking know what's going on. They're not dumb enough to stand out in the open. You know?
Bigfoot showed
they're constantly
Paul
like
and Gus how to do the field thing and travel and stuff like that. I think he taught them.
I think what I really was their introduction when Bigfoot, he's like explaining to them, don't get caught by the Comanche. Kill yourself first.
Oh,
dude, I was like, oh man, I got shivers. Because
you don't really think about that, but
you don't think about that. You'd rather end it quickly than have them torture you.
Yeah, exactly.
And like,
remember when they threw the snakes at the guy?
Oh yeah, I didn't get them out. Yes,
dude. And the way he describes how like vicious the Indians are, it's fucking terrifying.
Yeah.
And so like when Bigfoot's telling him, "Oh, this is how you kill yourself," in the beginning, like, yeah, that's kind of a crazy thing to talk about. But then later on in the story, when they talk about how vicious they are, I'm like, dude, that checks out, dude. I would much rather just end it.
Yeah. He's just trying to tell the kids, like, hey, if you're not gonna make it, take your own life because you're gonna suffer. Dude, you see how they
do it through the eye.
them? Oh man, how detailed he goes, like, ooh.
Dude, that was.
And the guy's like, I can't see.
He tells Matilda, he's like, Maddie, my head's on fire, and I was like, oh man, I can't even imagine the pain.
Oh,
yeah.
Like most of your nerve endings are in your like fingertips and like your head. Yeah, so that had to
if he wears a hat, he could probably survive.
And if he didn't die from blood loss from that or whatever, he would have gotten an infection and probably died. Because I think very few people survive scalpings.
Yes.
Oh yeah, I think they talked about like a couple people surviving, and they kind of look, and they
just have kind of scar tissue, man.
Yeah,
that's fucking wild.
Dude.
Yeah, I did. Because when you think about Indians, you hear about like in the movies like how savage they are, but reading it and being how descriptive it is, like, okay, now I understand how savage really means, like, dude.
And then the Comanches knew the land much more better than
I did like that,
and that's what I love about it. And then when they were going to was it Santa Fe, right?
Yeah,
that's the second journey they go.
Yeah, and then like it was not the Comanches, it was the Apaches, right?
Yeah,
when they're closer to New Mexico, it's the Apache.
The Apaches, and then like Gonzalez or whatever. Gomez was like killing them at night when they sleep, and just imagine that.
Yeah,
like you're starving, you're like, oh man.
Oh, there's a reason why like that line comes up where he's like, you know, if we had better weapons or we were better outfitted or whatever, that we'd hold off, and he was like, we do have better weapons than them, and they're still taking us out
because they know the
piece by piece. But he's hiding behind the carcass in the water and just waiting to get close. I was like,
yeah.
dude, these guys are fucking crazy.
Dude, the fact that Call like straight up killed that Comanche,
Yeah.
and then you find out later that's kind of a big thing that was Buffalo Hump's son.
Yes.
Like,
Oh,
that
yeah,
was
he goes.
crazy.
He goes when he's telling them, why was he pointing at us? What makes Gus and me, special? And he's like,
yes.
He's like, well, Gus, survived my lance, and he's like, why do you point at me? He's like, that was
My
my son.
Dude.
It's like, fuck, bro.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
both are.
That was one flaw I had with this book, that I kind of wanted there to be kind of like a duel between Call and Buffalo Hump.
Well, I
And-
think. Sorry, finish what you're saying. Sorry.
Well, I imagine that there's maybe something that happens in the next book.
Comanche Moon is gonna fill it in, I think.
Okay, so that's kind of cool, but I did kind of want it in this one.
But real quick, Buffalo Hump is a real historian person.
I don't. There are historical figures in here.
Get out of here.
Yeah, that's why I put Blood Meridian up here. Bum bum bum. Yeah, one of my favorite books of all time. I don't know if Buffalo Hump is a real person. Sorry that we didn't do a little bit more research on this. I did take some notes, but none of it pertaining to that.
Well, I was just like, because like I did look a little bit in it, and they were saying like it was him and someone called Yellow Wolf, and they were cousins, and they did this whole tour of in 1840 because they didn't want Texans or they didn't want them to take over their land, so they caused all this havoc everywhere, and like
they were defending their fucking homes.
Yeah,
dude.
they're defending their land and stuff like that. And like, I was reading a little bit on like how they knew way more better than Texans the land. No matter how better weapons they had, that they would still outnumber them. Like supposedly, Buffalo had like 400 warriors behind him, and the Texans,
Like the real Buffalo.
the real one in the whatever I read.
Is it called Buffalo Hump in real life, or is it?
Yeah, got Buffalo Hump.
Hey,
It's like the chief thing name.
That's fucking
Dude,
sick,
he
dude.
was badass, dude.
He was. I want to say he's scarier than Blue Duck.
Yeah.
I want to say that, but Blue Duck is something different. He's a different kind of like skeevy. There's something different. There's something that I go back to Blue Duck and I'm like, man, like he had like his gangs. They were like, remember he was like half Indian.
Yeah, he's like half Mexican, half.
And his thing is like he's like a camel. He can ride forever and he doesn't have to stop for water. And he has his gang, but he doesn't really hang out with them. He does shit on his own. There's something a little bit. I like them both. I think Buffalo Hump was a really good bad guy in this.
Yeah,
Don't get me wrong. He was fucking awesome.
You
more
kind of
like a
almost want to
leader.
root for him.
I kind of did root for him.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna lie, I was.
It's like,
Dude, I'm glad we're all on the same
Buffalo
page.
Hump
Buffalo
was
Hump's
like-
the shit. I'm
Dude,
like,
he
dude, give me a
was.
book on just Buffalo Hump.
Yeah,
Yes,
dude.
yes.
Like,
I give me a book of Buffalo Hump.
Like,
Yeah,
I
dude.
knew Gus and Carl were gonna survive, but I'm like, dude, fuck yeah, kill them off. Like, dude, like, who cares? Like,
Okay,
Buffalo Hump is sick.
let's talk about that. Let's talk about that before we move on to the next thing. There's something called sequelitis. Sequelitis, it's just a term that somebody kind of made up, and it's
Sequelitis.
sequelitis. It's supposed to be like
Wait, let me guess. Is it where, like, authors or filmmakers, they make a sequel and it's not as good, or doesn't live up to the expectations of people, or is it something along those lines?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
badass, okay.
yeah. I wish I had a hammer on here because you nailed it. That was good. No, that's exactly what it is. It's the concept that people, when they watch sequels, there's like, you can't. It's hard to like gauge if people want to see the same thing again or if they really want to see it changed. You know, because like if you went through the first story, the first part of a story, and then your characters developed and changed, then where is there to go after that? You really have to like figure out that next story. If you do the same thing again, it doesn't land. But then sometimes people want to see the same thing. Mm-hmm. Oh, I want to see Die Hard 2. I want it to be another story like that, you know?
Right.
So that's sequelitis. So this is prequelitis. It's the same thing. But the problem with it, and that's why we give so much Shadrach and Bigfoot. Because we know, as people that have read Lonesome Dove, that Gus and Call are gonna be fine. There's no real danger the whole time.
No.
Yeah,
You're never going
mean,
like,
yeah.
oh, maybe Gus is gonna die, maybe Call's gonna die. You never have to worry about, are they gonna make it?
That's true.
You know they're gonna make it.
Right.
So that is definitely.
That's kind of the exciting part for me, though. Still,
because you know they're gonna survive.
I think it's a small point in its.
So maybe they should
detriment,
read this
'cause-
book first.
so you think that's a detriment to the overall story?
That's a small point away. That's why this wasn't a solid 5 for me. It was like, because then there's suspense gone. You know, if I had just met these characters and I don't know anything, I probably would not have liked Gus and Call. I would have been like, no, dude, Shad and fucking Bigfoot.
Yeah, okay.
You know what I mean? If I had read, imagine not knowing anything.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, dude, Buffalo Hump's fucking crazy. You know? And
So, when I'm reading it, because I know that they're going to survive, it still has a suspense for me because I'm like, well, how do they get out of this? So,
Yeah.
like, how do they
I
survive
see what you mean, yeah.
How do they survive the fire and they're up against the cliff? How the fuck there's no way they're going to die.
Yeah.
And so I know they don't, but I still am like, well, how do they get out?
Oh, well, I'm not saying it was
Yeah.
a huge, like, I didn't enjoy the story because of that. I'm saying that it was like,
it's a small detriment.
it's just a knock against the suspense.
Sure.
Because it's like, okay, well,
Do
I
you
know.
think
Like,
people who would read this book, do you think they would really enjoy it not having read Lonesome Dove initially?
It's hard to say, man. I don't know that I would rate it that high, not having the context of what it is, how it fits into a grander story. Personally, I think that reading it the way I did, going in the order,
Still be a hit?
I still think it would be a hit because
I think so too.
because
it's
a lot
still
of it's
a
like
fun Western story.
and there's funny stuff like with the snapping turtle and
Yeah, like she scares the guys.
Yeah, like there's a lot of
Oh, and Shad keeps the head of it.
Yeah.
There's a lot of just random things in this book that oh man.
Maybe we
It's
should
so
talk
good.
about that also. So, I made the comparison when we read Lonesome Dove. Guys, I'm going to kind of rant for a second. When we read Lonesome Dove the first time, I compared these characters to like King Arthur's Knights. Because this almost Lonesome Dove almost reads like a journey, like a fantasy story almost, like Excalibur type shit.
Mm-hmm.
So I couldn't erase that thought that like these are Western tales, but it's kind of told in a fantasy way. That the concept behind it, and that's why I didn't want to tell you because I wanted to do it right here, was when I was trying to explain like how would I be like, hey, you're not interested in reading this? How do I like make you go, what the fuck? I got to know what that is. And there's a lot of weird shit in this book. In Dead Man's Walk, there's a lot of weird stuff.
There is, dude.
Okay, there's a humpback. That's weird.
It is.
Buffalo Hump is a humpback.
Yeah, it's a thing that comes in the back of your neck, right?
Yeah, he's got
Yeah, and he has
a growth,
Yeah,
or
a
his
growth.
spine's kind of weird or whatever. So there's a humpback. That's weird. There's a pirate.
Oh yes,
Yeah.
the captain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A Colonel Cobb, I think.
Is
Is
that
that
what
it?
what happened to the bird? I ate it.
Well, I don't. He doesn't have a parrot in the book, right?
No, he doesn't.
that was an addition for the miniseries.
I didn't really care for that.
I hated the parrot.
Yeah, I hated the parrot.
I hated
I
the
thought
parrot.
it was cool.
You liked it? I think it was too much.
You gotta go to Boston.
Well, it was really trying to lean into the parrot idea.
Yeah, pirate.
Pirate. Yeah.
Yeah.
The pirate
so there's
part.
a hunchback. There's a pirate. At some point, there's a skeleton with a lantern. It's not a skeleton, and we find out later that it's a leper. And they look, but when the way it's described is like a dead thing come back to life.
Yes, the
Um,
disease there.
There's a huge ass leper with a snake. The leper lady wins by singing opera.
And carrying that big old sword. Well, wasn't it like a Buffalo Hump mom told him?
Right.
Don't.
So she it's almost magical.
Yeah.
She sings the enemy away.
Hmm.
So there's like a weird, and then what you just said.
Disney vibe.
Yeah, sure,
Yeah.
sure. That's all fairy tale.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a prophecy.
But
There's
what you
chosen
said-
ones. There's prophecy. There's a prophecy.
Yeah.
The Buffalo Hump's grandma tells him, the end of our people is when the dark woman rides a white mule with a sword, or she says some shit, and that's the end of our people. So there's a prophecy in here. There's a journey. There's a prophecy. There's a hunchback. There's a pirate. There's a skeleton.
Yeah.
There's British aristocracy. So they end up getting not saved. I guess saved.
Yeah.
They get some luck at the end when the British lady's like,
Like,
"Hey,
I'll take care of
can
you."
you take us out of here?
Yeah,
we want
right,
to get
right.
across."
And they get
It's
the
very
best-
lucky.
Yeah, they even say they get
They
the
get
best guns,
real
they get
lucky.
Dude, yes.
So
And
there's
they
almost
get
like
paid.
there's almost like divine intervention in a way in there, and so it was hard for me to like make the King Arthur comparison and then look at this and go, imagine like it almost sounds like a kid trying to tell like a fun story, and there's a pirate, and there's a hunchback, and there's a. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And then the grandma says,
turtle.
and there's a big snake. You know what I mean? It almost sounds like it almost sounds silly, but it doesn't feel that way when you read the story.
No, it doesn't.
It's like you're almost like there's some stuff that's a little bit cartoony.
But I feel like because that's sometimes life is like that. I feel like sometimes life it's just really crazy. I literally just got a phone call an hour ago that my trash can was on fire. Random.
Yeah, life is
random.
chaos.
Life is
Yeah.
So one thing I wanted to mention about because we're talking about the end. Or I'm sorry, did you finish with your rant?
That's pretty much. I was just more so saying that like that it just adds another element to the story that's like really odd.
Yeah. So the ending is the only thing that I teeter back and forth on like was it a good ending or was it not a good ending? So as I was reading it and I hear that Buffalo Hump sees, there's a little boy and there's a couple girls and he sees the one in the water, or I forget what they call and
Lance in the water or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, they're
Gun in the water.
fucked. Like, there's no way they're getting out of this. Like, I know that lady, the leper, she's dead. The kid's dead. They're all dead. Somehow, only Call and Gus get out of this. That's how I was, like, reading. I was like, holy shit, I can't wait to figure it out. So the ending with her standing on the horse with the big snake and singing, I mean, it was kind of cool, I guess.
It's pretty cartoony.
Yeah, but it also was like, what the hell? So then it also had me thinking, like, during this whole story, there's these guys making decisions, these men making decisions. Yeah. And everywhere they turn, every decision they make, it turns to shit. Yeah. Even like the Mexican general or captain or whatever.
Edward James Olmos.
Yes.
Yeah.
Salazar. So he makes dumbass decisions.
Yes,
yeah. Oh, when he gives the guy his gun.
Yes, it's like just kill me.
And I remember being like, "What are you doing?"
Yeah.
Yes. I mean, it's stupid.
Right.
And at the very end, the only time that a decision is correct is the women. So it had me thinking, like, I don't know if this was the idea or the moral of the story, but I couldn't help but think that the one time a woman steps up and makes a decision or is in charge at that point in time, the heroes prevail.
That's a really good point, and I completely agree with you.
It's on camera. What just happened? What just happened?
I just finished a beer. That's why. No,
what just happened?
It's not that crazy because he did that in this. Clara makes the best decisions in the. She's always right.
Yes. I got it.
Yeah, we're gonna let the dog out real quick. Larry McMurtry is not afraid to let women make good decisions. He makes the women in his stories intelligent.
And
I think
it makes like I know the ending was kind of I didn't really care for it.
I really didn't care for. That's why I gave it a 4.5. I was like, the ending to me was like. But I wanted to go down with like shooting. Is like you say, Buffalo Hump and Gus are gonna get a rematch or
right. But
they got better weapons now.
That's why I kind of teeter back and forth. Yeah. There's a lot, dude. There's a lot of action. Like, yeah, they're kind of struggling throughout the whole thing.
Yeah.
But there's a really good action.
They're never safe.
Yeah, and at the end, so yeah, maybe it's not the ending we were hoping for, but it still was kind of unique. It was different, and it kind of makes sense. Indians seeing this lady that has like a skeleton face. Yeah. And there's a snake in their arms. Like, yes, it is, like you said, cartoony. But imagine being an Indian
back in
that time frame, seeing this, and you're like,
and
I've never seen a white woman like this.
Yeah,
no, like, for real.
Like that to me checks out.
Yeah.
And
you can argue, you can teeter back and forth.
What language she was singing at? Like, was it Italian or?
I think operas back then would have mostly been
French,
Italian. I think they would have mostly been Italian, but
Okay.
I don't know. I don't know enough opera to be like.
And then there was a French guy in the book too, right?
Yeah, it was the general or one of the major captains in the Mexican army or something.
Right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then like how they be in the water with all these bodyguards, and he'll take a bath, and he'll go in the morning and fight and practice, like a regular Frenchman would do. Like that's what back in the old days, a lot of Frenchmen were very protected, and the way they were really good with their swords and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of
sword fighting. When he's supposedly where he captured him, he would take a bath, y'all, smell, and give him good clothes, and just because they could get killed. Oh man.
There are a couple more things that I'd like to get y'all's opinions on. So if you have anything else to jump in and say before I start, because I think this is going to be. This is kind of like the main point I wanted to bring, like the big thing for me. But there's a couple more. There's kind of a lot I want to say in Sword. So I really want you guys to, if you have questions for us or to jump in with it, because I want to get this part in and see what you guys think about it.
Well, lay it on us. Okay,
so the big thing or the smaller thing that is still kind of interesting.
Do the smaller thing and we'll lead up to the.
Okay, I mentioned Blood Meridian before. This book is about the Glanton Gang. The Glanton Gang historically was a real thing. What these guys did, and Glanton's in Dead Man's Walk. They meet him in the beginning. And Kirker, it's like Kirker and Glanton.
The one that had the Mexican kids?
The Scalps.
Yeah, the Scalps, yeah.
Oh. Okay.
So that's what this book is about. This book is about the Glanton Gang being tasked with getting scalps of natives, but what they end up doing is going to poor Mexican villages, massacring those people, and stealing their hair, pretending that it's native hair. Oh. And it's a character that's not historical, hanging out with them and like watching all the shit happen. So that's what Blood Meridian is about. That's why I put it on the table. And Glanton's there. He meets them in the beginning. Remember, he like kicks them out. He's like, "You're not welcome here."
Finish your coffee and get out of here.
Bigfoot goes over there, or was it Shad? One of them goes over there and he's like,
Shad.
He's like, they grease their hair. These look like Mexican young Mexicans.
Yeah.
And I was like, Glanton? Because it was just a shock. Because I was like, I knew he was like a historical figure, but I was like, wow, these guys are always like, they always mention historical figures. You mentioned Buffalo Hump. I didn't know that. So I thought that was cool. Whatever. I just wanted to mention that these guys come in and out, and then
they call it Kicking Wolf. I think that's his real cousin because his cousins call him Yellow Wolf. Maybe he just changed the name to Kicking Wolf.
Sure.
And also Yellow Wolf, and the actual real person was good to steal horse. He can steal anything.
Yeah.
I'm curious.
We got to look into that. Yeah.
Yeah, look into it. I have pictures.
Charlie Goodnight, I think, is in there too. He's played by Sean Penn's brother, Chris Penn. He's the son in Reservoir Dogs. The gangster.
Oh yeah.
He wears like the tracksuit. He pops in for a second. He's like, y'all shouldn't go out here. This is a bad idea.
Yeah.
Remember him?
Yeah.
That's Chris Penn. So that guy's a real guy also. Yeah, so they run into like historical people.
He does like history.
And he does. He did a.
Is that in Lonesome Dove too? I don't remember that being
Charlie Goodnight. I don't remember.
Well, no, I'm saying like historical characters in Lonesome Dove.
I don't know, but I noticed it in this one. He did it for Anything for Billy, which I just read, and that's a story of Billy the Kid.
I was about to say that.
And there's a lot of historical stuff going on there.
I like the Billy the Kid story.
Okay, so the big thing. Let's get to it, and then we can finish up with some more just random stuff that you guys want to bring in. So this is my big thesis with this book. Grab the gun. No. My big thesis with this book was, I was like, I gotta get inside McMurtry's head here. So the reason I thought this is because I have this specific printing of Lonesome Dove. The beginning of it, it's a little bit of Larry McMurtry talking about his experience having written Lonesome Dove and how it accidentally became his masterpiece. This was just a project he was working on, a project he worked hard on, but it was just a project. He wasn't thinking, this is going to be the thing everybody remembers me for. Okay? So he kind of talks about it a little bit in this, and it made me think about, well, what is going on with this story? Okay, so I'm going to read just a couple of lines here. Let's get through it because I want to kind of move on to the other fun stuff. Writers, singers, and prolific artists of many stamps have sometimes found to their bafflement that they have been more or less trapped by the unexpected and unrelenting popularity of a work to which they themselves had initially attached little importance. He's saying sometimes people accidentally make a masterpiece.
Like Harry Potter, lady. I thought that was an accident. Okay, keep going. Keep going.
Never mind. Never mind. No.
Art, no, I fucking love you, man.
What? That's what it
Totally missed the point.
Sorry.
Totally fucking missed the point.
Go.
Oh,
All
man.
right. That was really funny.
Go.
My face is turning red.
Oh, man.
Okay, so he continues. In my case, the culprit is Lonesome Dove,
man.
a book which now seems as remote for me as the Arthuriad or the Matter of Troy, but which blooms eternally. A living myth flower. So it's just kind of a way of saying, like, he made this
He's
thing
kind
in
of
it.
tooting his own horn here.
This is an extraordinary book.
Yeah.
And he's more so saying, like, yes, he is tooting his own horn a little bit, but it's also like, I wasn't even trying to do that.
Right. I was just, yeah.
So then it goes on. He's talking about they made a return to Lonesome Dove. They killed off characters in different ways than he wrote. So he's saying, like, his characters that he created got killed multiple times in different ways, and how that was like a weird thing for him to conceptualize. Okay, so let me.
He talks about that in this.
Just a little right here. He talks about all the stuff, all the people named their bars the Lonesome Dove, not cocktails after it. All he's like, this is a big deal for some reason. It continues, but basically that's kind of the concept. There is like he's got this ambiguous relationship with his own work. He obviously thinks it's good, but he didn't expect that it was going to be this like behemoth, right? So, thinking on that, this is the big thing. How does this book start? What's like the first thing that happens?
The whore gets a snapping turtle.
The whore. What's her name?
Maddie.
What's her nickname?
Great America or the Great Western?
The Great Western.
Yeah.
What's this?
A Great Western.
The Great Western.
Yeah.
So, what? And once I saw that, I was like, is he doing a thing here? I think he is. I think he has that weird relationship with this thing. He's whoring himself out to continue to write in this universe when he just thought it was a project he worked on.
Holy shit!
Yeah.
Damn, dude.
I think so.
That's pretty good.
I think so.
I
think so. Because it's the first thing it says, and I was like, why did they call her the Great Western? She's a whore. And so I was thinking, like, they just keep asking him to make more Gus and Call shit because it sells.
Oh, I see what you mean.
Yeah. He whored himself out to make more Lonesome Dove content. So that is like something I thought, again.
He doesn't call her heroes, you know what I mean?
Yeah, because
so you don't think that he really wanted to expand on this?
Like, I think that, in my personal opinion, if they just wrote this, fine. I don't think he was like, oh, I've got a fun new story with Gus and Call. I don't think that happened. I think the publishers were like, hey, you think you can...
Sure.
We can make another... CBS wants to make another fucking miniseries. You think you got another book in you? I think that's more realistic to... Because this wasn't like written in like old Western times. This isn't some novel that lasted several decades. This was from like the 1920s. This is like this. He wrote this in the 80s. So this is newer. So yeah, this is after they figured out how to make TV work. They make miniseries already. I really do think that's what it is. I don't know. I can't quote it. We can't ask Larry himself. He's dead. But I think there's something to that. And then I looked at this story and I almost was like, this is all the same shit again. Not all. It's obviously tweaked the details are different.
There's kind of a
parallel. It's rhyming.
The formula is kind of the same.
It's the same.
It's different numbers, same formula.
There's different dangers. A bear.
The bear. There's a bear attack in this.
Yeah, there is.
You didn't get far enough.
Oh shoot! Okay.
Because I wrote that a bear attack.
And there's a bear attack in this one.
Mm-hmm.
What else happens to them?
So okay, it's
of course
Shadrach and Bigfoot are Call and Gus.
Right. Yep. That was pretty.
They're the two older guys.
Yeah, that was. Yeah,
they're the two old. They're older guys.
They're the older guys. Yes. Yeah,
oh, funny. There's a whore hanging out with them the whole time. Mm-hmm. Lorena
and Maddie.
And Shadrach dies.
But Maddie's a little bit more tougher.
Well,
like
okay,
more,
but just there's stuff that's like there's different. Okay, let me say the similarities first, and then we'll break it down.
Sorry, guys.
So
Harry Potter.
he falls. She falls in love with Shad, who gets killed. Lorena falls in love with Gus, who later gets killed. Okay. Again, remember the trek to Montana when they don't have water.
Oh yeah.
And what is his name? Pancho? Who's the Mexican? He's like only giving them a sip full of water, and they're all like, "Dude, we can't make it."
Yeah.
And then there's water.
Yes.
Yeah. So there's
Doesn't
that
it start
journey,
raining on them?
and then there's the Dead Man's Walk. So it's like that parallel of this long journey that's like really treacherous.
Yeah.
Okay. There's human trafficking. Because remember, Blue Duck steals Lorena and he's going to sell her. Mm-hmm. And then Buffalo Hump is doing the same exact thing. Mm-hmm. The kind of... And I don't know if this is just cultural to the natives or what it is, but I feel like there's always like unusual nicknames too. So, because I didn't know that Buffalo Hump was a historical figure, so I just thought, oh, it's like Blue Duck. It's like a weird native name.
Right.
You know, like it was something that McMurtry invented. Is what I was thinking before you said that. So I didn't know.
That's what.
But I was like, oh, there's a Blue Duck and a Buffalo Hump. There's this weird parallel of odd names, and even like PI and Bigfoot, and you know, there's like this thing of like weird names that might just be him all the time. He just does that.
Right.
Well, I understand why Bigfoot, because he's tall.
Yeah. I mean, there's reasons, and I think PI has green eyes. I think, or it's like his name is Peter.
Yeah, I think it's
Peter something.
Yeah, it's like shorter than.
Ignatius or something. Yeah. Peter Ignatius PI, and that's why they call him that. Anyway, whatever. Then Dietz gets killed when he's helping a blind Indian kid. There's a little.
He goes to save her.
Yeah, and then there's always like some kid that's like mutilated. There's a little Mexican boy that they took his tongue out because he was stealing food. Mm-hmm. So there's like
damn, bro.
I know there's like
a lot.
Yeah, so I saw.
Well, shit, that makes me not like the story that much more.
I know, right? I don't want to read this book no more. Never mind, people.
No, but I was like because I had that doesn't make the book worse for me.
That's why you gave it a 4.
No, because I mean there's just
no. I'm saying I respect it because I think it was a nod to being like, oh, they want the same thing again.
So he did exactly what you said. He forced himself to make more content.
Yeah, and then there's one more thing, and I don't think y'all are gonna agree with me on this, but I saw it and I was like, maybe is that a nod to what happens later? Before the adventure even starts, what happens to Gus?
He gets stabbed in the leg.
he gets like injured.
Where?
On the back of his thigh, isn't it?
And then later?
It was an ankle?
Well, no, he gets the lance through his hip later, but first he falls.
Yeah, he falls like on a cliff.
He hurts his. Remember, Clara comes by and rubs the ointment on him.
Yeah. When he was in love with her, he was thinking about her so much.
Right. How does he die in Lonesome Dove?
He loses his leg, or doesn't want to lose his leg.
So Gus
and it's the same leg.
Gus is a dead man walking. I don't know. I thought it was kind of cool.
So you think that's why he named it that?
Man,
no,
I'm
of course
just thinking loving the journey and all this stuff.
See, that's what I'm saying, dude. Joseph always gets like, dude, he gets so deep into it, bro.
Like that's.
I would never thought anything like that.
Same here. I wouldn't.
I'm just over here. Oh, Cowboys and Indians.
Yeah, I'm like, fuck yeah, the Indians, bro. They know the
Harry Potter.
Joseph's like, bro, this author's hoard himself. That's some deep shit, but
that's pretty much all I got. But I thought it was a big deal.
No, I think you're right, man. Because I mean, it checks out, and I think
it does. It really does.
You know,
and it doesn't. This isn't points against it for me. This was more so me feeling like he was like I figured something out about it.
He was pushed to continue the storyline.
Yeah, and like and I think
the people wanted it.
I remember when I read this the first time I read the introduction. He's like talks about like, God, they made like series after this, and I wrote multiple books in it. He sounds kind of annoyed about it. I think his tone isn't. I think
all his books have a series to it.
Yeah, they probably do.
No, I think they do.
I don't think all of them do, but I think most of them do. Yeah. I don't think anything for Billy is connected to anything.
Oh well, no, I was talking about the Lonesome Dove, Gus and
trilogy.
Oh, you mean they have an adaptation?
Yeah,
they all do. Yeah,
like I think all of them.
They all do. They all do, and there's an extra one. Return to Lonesome Dove. He didn't write.
Oh yes, I seen that one.
Streets of Laredo is his story that happens after, and and they wrote Return to Lonesome Dove, which is nothing like what happens in Streets of Laredo.
I haven't seen Return to Lonesome Dove. I probably will never do.
It's alright. It's not that. I mean, you just get to see what happens after that.
Yeah, that was. I don't know. I was really proud of myself for that one. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie, dude. I remember.
You probably are something.
I was like, there's got to be something here. I was like, because
how long did that take you? Was it just immediate, or you were really thinking about it?
No, I was really thinking about
30 minutes.
I was really thinking about it because this we talked about it in our review for it. Is a subversion of the traditional Western story. It's everything is the stuff you expect to see flipped on its head. So he does.
That's kind of like
he does that already.
Yeah. So
he's very aware of the words he's using, the plotting of it, how the characters behave, what happens to them. Do you think it was a coincidence? Do you think he forgot how he killed Gus? No, he was very aware how he killed Gus. So it was weird to be like, oh wow, he got attacked in the leg again.
So he gets hurt in the same leg too. No, isn't it the same leg?
I don't know if it was the same one, but he gets hurt in the leg.
So do you think that these two books are probably more closely connected than any other two books? I think say so.
I think if we're gonna do the series, I think we're gonna really. I don't know. We're probably really all gonna like Comanche Moon because some of our favorite characters return.
Yeah.
And I think we'll just like it for that. Yeah. But I don't think you guys are gonna like Streets of Laredo.
I kind of.
I'm gonna read it. I'm gonna read the fuck out of it.
I'm gonna read it too. I'm still gonna do it, but I kind of see what you're talking about now.
So, one thing I didn't really care for this story was actually the Dead Man's Walk. The whole
journey to it.
Yeah, like to me, that's the title of the book. I was expecting something more than just them traveling with this Mexican army. It just that to me was another thing that I didn't really care about the story.
Yeah, I mean,
because all the decisions that Salazar made were stupid,
horrible, man.
I didn't find. I almost believed the whole leper on the horse. That was more believable to me than this general making these stupid ass decisions.
I would have the Texans helping me out because they were the better riflemen than his younger soldiers he had.
Yeah,
because remember Salazar had nothing but young kids,
right.
And then these Texans like been shooting and know how to shoot. So like, yeah, let me get them guns. We might survive this.
Well, he said he does say the last time I handed somebody my gun, they shot me with it.
That is true. I mean, yeah, but
so you think the captain, when he got blind, you think he meant to kill, or he was trying to help out his?
Well, in the series, he gets blind. I don't think in the book he's blind.
Oh, he still sees.
Yeah, he can still see. Captain Cobb is not blind in the book.
I didn't catch that.
No.
Oh.
Yeah, in the book he can see. He straight up shoots Salazar on purpose, right?
I don't remember.
Well,
it doesn't. It doesn't matter enough for me to want to even know. It doesn't matter. Like the point was that he convinced him to give him the gun and he shot him.
Right. So all of that stuff to me, like, I read it. It was somewhat okay. It was all right.
It's crazy that It's crazy that you rated it as high as you did. Then
I know.
you were like, I didn't like the ending. I didn't like the Dead Man's Walk itself.
No. But I teeter back and forth. I really enjoyed the story, even the end. Like, if I have the mindset, like, oh, this for like, what is he trying to say? Like, women make the better decisions than men. Like, I like that. I think that's cool. That's interesting. It's different. So that's why I put it on a high pedestal. But I'm not gonna lie. There's another part of me that's like, well, no, I want that shootout. I
really wanted that.
I want Call to be the hero and save everybody and kill Buffalo Hump.
Well, having Shad and Bigfoot die the way they did was pretty lame.
The way Shad died was super lame.
Yeah, Shad just got shot.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's kind of how, like, with Roscoe, where it's just like a senseless thing.
Yeah.
That's kind of going like, well, the chaos of this shit. Like, you just
and it's also like you don't think the heroes are gonna survive. They're gonna survive, and
but having both Shadrach and Bigfoot go was kind of lame.
Man, now that I'm thinking about it, maybe if I read this book without reading Lonesome Dove, maybe I think people would really enjoy it because Call and Gus are not like the heavy hitters in this story.
They're not.
So, seeing Shadrach and Bigfoot die as you're reading this for the first time and getting to know these characters, that probably would be like, oh damn. At least for me, I would enjoy that.
I really thought Bigfoot was gonna live.
Yeah, but if you didn't care for the ending, you wouldn't be excited. You wouldn't. Would you need to know that the story continues?
True. Yeah.
Would you be like, oh, I want to see what the next story is? No, or would you be like, oh, it ends with a fucking weird like tarot card scene? That's what it seems like, right?
No, it does.
A lady on a horse with a sword and a veiled lady with red hair. And
I just wanted that last gunfight and somehow Gus and Carl.
Every book we do, this motherfucker says that.
Okay, I
every
love action.
single one he says.
Wait, I love action.
I love it. It's good.
I love action.
Fine. It's fine.
It's like my thing.
I know.
I love it.
He's like, come on, man.
So how would you have written the ending?
Yeah, how would you have told it?
How would have? I think I would have done it like where at least they kill Kicking Wolf and Buffalo Hump, so escapes, and like I feel like they
That'd be cool ending.
You know what I mean? Like at least they take out something. Maybe Gus hurts again, hurts Buffalo, and Buffalo escapes. Just like a blazing, like okay, there they are. Let's do this. Ambush them or. You know what I mean? I just want some action. I guess I just wanted the end to be a little bit more action and like Gus and Carl kind of survive and run out.
I thought the presentation of the ending was a little goofy, but I like the concept that they use superstition to scare them.
Yeah.
And just like with Blue Duck,
and the Indians were
taking himself out, and you not seeing that coming, you don't expect Buffalo Hump to freeze and then just leave.
Yeah, don't.
But it does leave you with he's going to come back. Buffalo Hump is in Comanche Moon.
Well, he has to be.
I'm so excited.
Yeah.
He has to.
I'm so excited.
Because the way they left it, maybe they left it like that to do the other book.
I don't... for the record, full disclosure, I accidentally found out a little bit about Comanche Moon. I'm not going to say it. But it is making me really excited to see Comanche Moon. So, I don't know if you guys are down for this. I would like to take one break from this. Let's read something else or do a movie in between now and then. Give us some time to get caught up on the book.
Yeah.
But I think the next one we sit down on that's adaptation should be Comanche Moon.
Let's do it. I'm down.
How do you feel?
You're talking about just watching the show or doing the whole...
I'd like to, I mean,
this book.
Oh, yeah. Let's do it.
Do it like we did this.
I am super down. Yes, I'm excited. Because the way they left, like I said, Buffalo or Kicking Wolf survived.
And you're going to get what you want. Maybe it might not be.
There's going to have to be some showdown. There's going to have to be.
There has to be. And then that's what I said. Maybe they left it like this for the other book. Because to me, that was a really boring ending.
Well, okay. So
she sings and then like, I get it because maybe Indians are very spiritual. And they're like, okay, yeah, I remember my grandma told me if I sing
that's literally what it, like, that's how they
and
won.
Like how you were saying back in the day, they really didn't read a lot of books and they're really...
Oh, well, you got to think too. Well, I wasn't really making that point, but the fact that there's the concept of the leper freaks out the whites, right?
Yeah.
But think about with the historical context of when the Europeans came from Europe to the Americas, disease is what killed most of the natives.
Yeah, I mean
that's another like aspect of why seeing
the white guys were scared of them. Imagine these Indians.
Yeah, remember how they all paused when they were eating and they were like, "Oh, she has leprosy," and they all like, "Fuck, we came in here."
Yeah.
So like, imagine being a native and feeling that,
and you're like, "Okay, yeah, get away from her."
You're like, "Oh, fuck no." That's fucking crazy. Yeah. So I understand like, and I did like the digressions. I did like seeing the who do they get? They get one of the guys when they throw the snakes at him.
That was the...
Because you get a little bit more...
The guys who was...
Oh, Glenn. Yeah, Glenn. Yeah. So I really liked some of the stuff that doesn't just focus on Gus and Carl. I like the kind of digressions. Those were actually not that bad.
If I was that guy, I would have saved my bullets and not killed those damn snakes. Because you were not going to get all those snakes. You know what I mean? When the Indian pop, boom!
Well, yeah. I don't know. It's easy to say when you know what happens.
There in real life, you're like, I love it.
You're like, dude, they throw 6 snakes at you. You're gonna panic.
Man, dude, I
can't wait for Comanche Moon, man.
Yeah. Anything else you guys want to add?
I can't wait for Comanche Moon.
We got to do it.
So
I'm like,
let's do it, man.
I really do
Let's do it. I'm good. I mean,
I think
covered a lot.
we're good to the for the ending of the video, guys. I mean, I think we knocked out a lot. We said some fun things. I didn't think this was.
Go read the book.
How long did it last?
Yes, please read the
About
book.
56 minutes.
That's
Read
fantastic.
the book.
Dude, I feel like I was like, we're right on point then. Yeah. Do you have any other like quick things to add? Any points?
I don't know.
I think we hit everything, guys. I think
Yeah.
we said all of it. There's a lot of action. There's a lot of intrigue. Fun characters.
Fantasy. I like the fact you called it a fantasy.
It
truly
is. It is
like
weird to be
fantasy.
like there's a pirate and there's a hunchback and there's a skeleton.
Hunchback. I really didn't care for the captain either. He was very neat. Like he didn't care for them.
Which captain?
The one with the pirate dude.
The pirate?
Yeah.
It was cool to hear like Bigfoot and Shadrach be like, this guy's
stupid.
Like,
I love that. I love the fact that he was a horrible leader.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
terrible.
He was a very terrible leader. Like
that's part of I think why Gus and Call became good leaders because they saw
what a horrible leader.
Because you kind of have to see, you have to make mistakes yourself, but you also have to see other people make them and go, I'm not gonna do that.
Yep.
And you can tell Gus and Call like love their crew later on.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And these guys don't give a shit about their crew, and you see maybe they learned that lesson.
I do like in the book they kind of they talk about. I think Call's more like this than Gus, but he made a point to call out like Call wants to be around. I think one of the black guys. I guess the black guy's good at something, and so he wants to be around him and like see how he does certain things.
Yeah.
Yeah. The fact that they're like students is really, really cool in this.
I think that's what I like. Because they're learning.
Right, because of course in Lonesome Dove, they're the teacher, they're the sensei or the master.
Well, they're calling the shots, but they are okay with relying on people like Dietz.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, like Gus could see pretty far, but Dietz could sniff out some game or whatever.
Right.
You know, they respect him.
Yeah, and I feel like the three of us, we really value kind of knowledge when it comes to stuff like these stories. Like, we really value that, and so
we like our characters to be intelligent.
Yes,
we like our characters smart.
We like him to be really
don't
smart.
we? We like Rick Deckard. He was Rick Deckard was cool. We like Grant from Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
Misery. We like a smart guy that can handle fucking problems.
But not just smart, because I think there's a difference between smart. I feel like having like common sense, like street smart.
Yeah.
That to me is like.
That's what I love.
That's what I love.
They know about the land,
because like I don't care if like you know all of like the book stuff. Like that to me is like whatever, okay. But when you know like little things from experiences,
yes,
and you've learned that and learned from failures, that's what I respect most of all. And I feel like the three of us kind of do too.
Yeah, and I really like the
so Call's the best
expectation. One, right? You know, to be honest with you,
I'm Call.
Shad was my favorite in this book. I think in the miniseries I really liked Bigfoot. I have a reason. I have a reason for that, and it's because I loved Deadwood. Like it's basically like The Sopranos in the Old West, and that has a lot of historical people. Like Wyatt Earp goes through there, and Wild Bill Hickok. And Wild Bill Hickok is like a famous gunslinger. Yeah, is played by the guy that played Bigfoot in this. So I was like, I remember you were like, there's like nobody in it. And I was like, that's not true. There's so many fucking.
Well, I don't know a lot of actors. I don't know, but then when I see their faces, I'm like, oh, I remember I seen this guy.
So when we end here, I'll show you like a video of like Wild Bill, and you're gonna be like, oh shit, that's crazy that he's doing that. And then
I didn't like the Bigfoot.
You didn't like? I like
Bigfoot's cool.
Yeah, I like Bigfoot.
Cool. In the miniseries.
I like Bigfoot.
I think again, it's probably just because I like the actor.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. I didn't really care.
But between Call and Gus, I like Call.
Oh, dude.
Call's the best in this one.
Call's the best in all of them.
Yeah, so I like...
Or in Lonesome Dove, at least. I don't really care for Gustin. Dude, Call's the best, bro. Come on.
Yeah?
Dude, he freaking kills Buffalo Hub's son. He freaking takes 100 whips from the Mexicans.
Okay, you forgot to talk about the whip.
He doesn't die.
Yeah.
How do we not talk about the whipping?
Yeah, like
right?
that's...
It's a repeat again, remember? It's a parallel. Whenever Newt gets fucked with by that captain, and then Call sees it, he goes over there and lassos that guy.
Oh yeah.
He gets fucking pissed and he can't handle his anger. That same thing happens whenever he sees the pirate go off and he's like, I'm gonna go fucking have a banquet. and then he's like, "Fuck you," and he fucking dives on him. He knocks the carriage over, and that's why he gets whipped.
Yeah, he doesn't like misbehavior or
I can't tolerate something. Yeah, he says some shit.
Yeah,
he says some badass stuff,
dude. I love the fact he's I'm a Texan and I don't back down. I was like,
yeah, dude.
Fuck that,
and he's like, they're like, oh, you want some food? And dude, they haven't eaten anything.
Oh, he's holding the Texas flag. He's like, no, I can't when my partners are back there hungry.
Yeah, I'm like, dude, what a badass, bro.
And that's me. I would have been like, just drink your coffee, bro.
You're total Gus, bro.
I guess so,
and Gus is from Kentucky, right?
Tennessee.
And then Carl is really Texan, right? He's from Texas.
I think in Lonesome Dove they make fun of him for being Irish or Scottish.
He's born in Scotland.
Yeah, Scottish.
But I think he was.
He's a Texan. He's a Texan.
Yeah.
And that's why the lady said, "Oh, he's Scottish," and that's why.
Yes. Yeah. He's.
You know what's crazy is when we watched this and you were like, "Oh, I didn't know that was Newt's mom."
I didn't know that. I didn't like cross.
That's crazy.
I love seeing like his eyes light up. I was like, dude, it all connects, bro.
Yeah, I know. Now I was like, oh, damn.
You know what would be funny? And this isn't the case, but what would be funny is if the one black cook is Deet's dad.
I thought for sure there was gonna be some connection with.
You're gonna see like a little black boy running around. And you're like, oh, that's gonna grow up to be Deet's. I fucking want Deet's in the story, man.
Oh man.
All right, let's get out of here, man. We're gonna close it out. You guys are the best. Thank you so much for taking the time.
Thank you.
What? Let's stop. So you're like watch, and then you just say anything.
I just gonna say watch Dead Man's Walk.
Yes, read it. Yeah. Read it too.
Okay, you want to redo that closing?
Nah.
Just leave it.
Just leave it like that, bro.
Awkwardly.
Walk.
Walk.
Or no. Watch.
Read. Watch. We're tired, guys. It's been a long day. This motherfucker's house almost lit on fire.
I know. I'm freaking tired. Thanks for watching, guys. Like and subscribe.
You're the best. Like and subscribe.
Take care.
Dude, get caught up and read Comanche Moon with us. That would be so bad. Imagine one of our people is like, yo, we read it too.
Oh, dude.
That'd be so sick. Thank you guys so much. We'll see you next time.
Bye.